In terms of Richmond, obviously they haven't been in too crash-hot form, but there are danger players. We've mentioned Jack Regal. What are the key areas you see with them?
Well, yeah, they do have some wonderful talent and a lot of young players as well who are coming through. So, like with any team you play, if you don't play at your best, you give them the opportunity to step up and play at their absolute best, and it'll be a tough game. We saw that with the Gold Coast earlier this year. That was no easy game, and Richmond, even though they aren't in great form at the moment, certainly have the capabilities and the coaching staff to get them ready to go.
Josh, didn't see him at training this morning. How's it going?
Very quiet. Yeah, he's just having a very, very light week this week, with the aim of stepping up, building back up the full activities next week.
So you definitely won't play?
No.
How careful does he have to be with his heart rate, even at this sort of period? Is it like 3 or 4 days on the track before he can sort of raise it up a little bit?
Yeah, well, I don't want it really getting up until the weekend, basically. So.
Is there any concern that it might be a long-term?
Don't think so, no. But it's obviously a nasty injury with that potential. But yeah, he was in seeing a specialist within 30 minutes of it happening. So I think he's been well treated.
Daniel Kerr, does he come back?
Should do, yeah. Will be available for selection. He's moving really well. He's fit and ready to go. He's done. He's been doing 1K runs, 800s, and by all accounts, running them better than he was when he came back earlier in the season.
So was it kicking that was causing him the pain?
Yeah, and ground balls, that sort of stuff. You know, going flat out and bending and picking up ground balls. But yeah, he's ticked all those boxes now.
So you're able to do the load work in his body, but not getting the knocks and things like that. Is it a bonus for him to be able to be in this position and rebuilding his fitness?
I think so.
Aerobic fitness for finals?
Yeah, I think he's in pretty good shape to be able to finish the year really strongly.
And Nick Namnui, he didn't do a lot again today.
Yeah, he'll be a chance to be up for selection, so that will depend on tomorrow's session.
About Butler, John, if he comes back, is it straight back into the team or maybe back for?
He's probably just, a week beyond what we would say was a time out where he could come straight back in.
So you might see him playing Worsfold this week?
He should be fit to play. If he gets through, again, ticks all the boxes this week, he'll be back playing this weekend.
How about Beau Waters, John? Do you sort of incline to maybe rest him this week after that knock to his elbow? Or?
Well, that'll depend on how he feels. If he can't play at the required level, then he'll have to be rested to basically get the injury right. So, yeah, that will really, again, depend on how he's feeling tomorrow.
A big week of celebration and then obviously very short price favourites on Sunday. Is there any danger of complacency with those factors coupled together?
No, the players have nothing to do with organising any functions this week. They're totally focused on their preparation. The challenge of taking on Richmond, if any players take their eye off the ball, then they've got a good 10 or 12 players in the WAFL that are in brilliant form and are just sniffing around waiting for an opportunity. So our players are very focused on consistency of performance and intensity, and that'll be our focus again this week.
Do you remind them about last year in terms of taking your eye off the ball? Because that was sort of probably one of the lower points of the season last year. Do you remind them that Richmond are a very dangerous team that's capable of doing those sort of things? Every
team, we want to play our best against them, regardless of who, where, when, and sometimes why.
No sense of wanting to even the score for that one last year?
No, I don't. I can't really remember what happened in that game last year.
Exactly, so. 10?
I asked someone about that. They said it was 2 years ago. I believed them. Anyway, on we go.
John, what's your stance with the free agency coming in? This just seems like a sign of what's going to come, and people are naive. They think it's not going to happen more and more. Yeah,
well, it's a new landscape. It's a bit hard to predict how quickly it will take off and how much movement there will be. And there's two forms of the free agency, with restricted free agency and then the full-blooded one. So. Yeah, all the people in relevant football clubs in those roles of looking at list management are aware of the rules and positioning themselves to be able to deal with that.
Earlier this week we had Dean Bailey talking about the tanking issue, and which you obviously had to address over the past couple of years. You've got two pretty handy players with the priority picks. Are you in favour of priority picks remaining? You're pumped about being asked about whether or not you want to win or not?
Yeah, no. on a selfish point of view, I'd say, why would you give anyone a priority pick? Especially if it's not going to affect us now, so give it to no one else. Am I in favour of them? They've been around for a fair while, and they've been part again of, everyone's been aware when they take part in the competition at the start of the year of what the draft rules are around if teams only win a certain number of games over I think it's a 2-year period, then they become eligible for a priority pick. I think it's been there to accelerate the reason we have a draft and a salary cap, which is to give teams that have been down the bottom for an extended period an opportunity to climb the ladder and not be anchored there. And I think the draft and the salary cap have been doing that since their inception.
Did you feel the pressure at all last year to do the right thing by the club, as it's been referred by Bailey, in terms of putting the players in positions, developing as
No.
management, when you've got the potential to get a quality player like Jack Darling's what you ended up with by only winning the
Yeah, no, it's I think it's funny because everyone's saying how good the Jack Darling pick was, but if you remember back, you would have it on your notes, about this time last year, people were saying, sucked in West Coast, you're going to get a priority pick in a year when it's worth nothing because Gold Coast have already pilfered the first 12, 17-year-olds out, and then they've got all these picks, and yours is at the end of the first round and it's pick 26. So they were saying it's the worst year of all time to finish down the bottom of the ladder and get a priority pick. But in hindsight now, because it was Jack Darling and he's performing well, everyone's saying, what a great pick. So, yeah, we're not that good, Nostradamus, at predicting all those outcomes, other than saying we played our players in position for them to develop last year at the best possible rate to help us get to where we are this year, and that would have been a part in our improved performance this year, the fact that we did actually play players to be ready for this year.
So it was more about this year than last year then?
Oh, definitely. No, and years to come. Always a focus on this year, next year and the year after, building the side to challenge for a premiership.
When you look at that, obviously people talk about the rewards at the end of the year if you don't win enough games. Can you understand why people look at that and say, well, during that season, you're not looking at winning as much?
Yeah.
So you look at winning the next season, but there's going to be rewards for you if you don't win.
Yeah, I have a different opinion. Yeah, my opinion was about we already had good enough talent on our list that it was going to progress forward, and it was about progressing that talent without worrying about future talent at that time, other than obviously knowing that with the way our season was panning out, we were going to have an early pick, whichever pick that was going to be, in a diluted draft. So people even said our pick 4 last year really was a diluted pick because the draft had already been hit hard through the Gold Coast signing of 17-year-olds the previous year and their first 3 picks. So we didn't complain, we didn't whinge about the fact that we weren't getting pick 1 last year. We dealt with what we had in front of us. But my selection and playing philosophy last year was build this team up to be able to challenge and become a very good team as quickly as possible.